Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. Every moment we have the choice whether we live consciously now, whether we live in that timelessness, whether we are alive, or whether we just go through all the emotions, half asleep, mechanically, let the external actions happen and the attention is either half asleep or wandering around somewhere. That possibility is there for everybody, every moment. We may not have a complete choice about our external actions. There are other influences, other factors that limit that choice, but that possibility is always there that we live consciously. At least that we attempt. If it's unfamiliar to try to do so, maybe the attempt is not very successful, and yet it makes a total difference of the experience. If we learn to live like this, if we learn to be consciously, if we learn to bring the attention to that which makes the experience possible, that sense of being, that sense of being here, now, and alive. If you learn to live like this, everything becomes practice, spiritual practice, no matter what we are doing. Certainly, the usual traditional practices, they are helpful, they are great. If you have a regular official practice that builds up the strength that we can live more and more like this. But even when we are practicing meditation, when we are practicing mantra, when we are practicing anything regularly, still that difference is there whether we are doing that really with heart. With heart means to be alive. With heart means to be conscious and not just mechanically do the practice and let the attention wander all around the universe. Or just do the things mechanically and rather be half asleep while doing so. It makes such a difference. It makes a total difference. Any moment that is not lived like this is a little opportunity wasted. So let's not go through our life wasting our opportunities. Let's not go through our life waiting until the great opportunities are coming, that my life can finally somehow get started, the career can get started, that something is finally happening. We can become aware that opportunity is there all the time. Either we go through life half asleep, either we go through life mechanically, just letting the external things happen, repeating themselves over and over, and be always dreaming around something, not being alive. When we wake up in the morning, we can go half asleep, we get up and do whatever we have to do, take a shower, take our cup of tea or coffee or whatever, then go to work, and all the while just be completely absent. Or one can wake up and consciously be here, consciously breathe in, breathe out, get up from the bed, feel the body sensations, be aware of that sense of presence that is always there, that we are touching when we say I. And then do everything like that. Then we are in tune with life. There is joyousness in life. Then there is not always that nagging sense something is so totally missing when it's finally going to happen in my life. This opportunity is there for everybody. But we have to go about it not once in a while, think, okay, I'll try a moment, and then drop it again. It's something that we can learn, that it becomes our normal way of functioning, our modus operandi. That we are learning to function in such a way that we are not always worrying about what's going to happen now during the daytime, whether I'm going to be successful with my activities, with my encounters with the people, but just go from moment to moment consciously and learn to relax in that. Sometimes there may be tensions. I mean, every action needs a little tension to give the push to do so. But if you are basically relaxed, then that comes and goes and it's playful. Everybody knows, people know that we can make efforts and do that joyously. People who work in an office the whole day, often for recreation, they go jogging, they go swimming, they do some kind of physical work that is needs a lot of effort, and yet it feels like recreation, like relaxing from the mental tension that have been there the whole day long. And we can learn to live our life all the time like this. Somebody asked me that once, but you know, we have computer jobs. It was a couple, and we have both computer jobs. So how can we apply what you are telling? We have to be focused, we have to be concentrated. How can we at the same time be aware here now? Well, those moments, they are really focused, they are here now. And even if you have such a job, people are not aware how much of the time they are just wandering around in their mind somewhere. Then there is the focus again, something is being done, but then the mind dreams of, slips off again and wanders around, and the experience of being in the present is lost. Every moment we have that opportunity. Let's live our life like this. Let's at least attempt it and remind ourselves whenever we become aware, I'm just going again about it mechanically, just not as a terrible task that creates pain, but let's come home and relax in that sense of being, in that sense of well-being. There is a joyousness in that, that is simply there, that needs not to be created. Just now, before I came to the satsang, I saw a WhatsApp message from Heidi. She says a friend wonders how can one do meditation and do yoga and at the same time celebrate life. Actually, there is absolutely no contradiction. Some people may have the idea, okay, when you do yoga, when you do meditation, then in a way you are distancing yourself from life. You may take a distance to many activities that are happening in society because you are not more interested and go for other activities. But you never, never, ever have to take a distance from life. Life is here, is now. Life is that which makes us breathe. Life is that by which everything is experienced. It's not that we have to do all kinds of things in order to celebrate life. One can have special things one likes and go for them, go swimming, go delta gliding, go just wander in the forest. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But our well-being is not dependent on that. We start to really celebrate life when we do what I have been just talking about, when we learn to bring the attention back, when we make use of that opportunity that every moment we can be aware of being aware, aware of being alive, and when that is happening, then we are celebrating every moment. And then yoga and meditation helps to clean out a lot of stuff that we may have accumulated in the body, in the subtle body. So physically, mentally, intellectually, burdens that we are carrying along. These practices can be very helpful to clean the systems, gross and subtle, out. But that doesn't mean when we do those, we are not enjoying life, we are not celebrating life. When we learn to live consciously conscious, consciously alive here now, then we finally start to celebrate life. Somebody who is not doing so can run restlessly from one thing to another, always hoping to get a kick and think this is the way to celebrate life. But actually, the thing is that there are those peaks where everything is fine, enjoyment, and there, actually the mind is there, the attention is there, because then there is not the thought, oh, this should be different, this should be that, should be in another way, or what am I going to do tomorrow? Because then the attention is in the present. But then the peak goes and comes back down in that usual gray zone and just somehow vegetates along, just keeps alive until the next peak, running after peaks, running after kicks, and hoping that in that way life is being celebrated. It is not. It's just struggling, a painful business with a few moments of intense living there. Every time you bring your attention home to yourself, every time you just be, you are conscious of being alive. You are conscious of being conscious. You can feel your expression, the body, physical body, and more you feel the subtle body if you do so, the energies. Being aware of that living quality here now, this is the best way of celebrating life. Okay, I'm stopping now, just talking away by myself. And I'm asking you, my friends, is there anyone who would like to come in and say something? You are welcome to do so. Hello, Floyd.
Hi, Werner. How are you?
Oh, quite okay.
Okay, good. I wanted to ask something about routine.
Uh-huh.
Like, having a routine, because a lot of people say you should have a routine, you should wake up at 5 a.m. or, some kind of routine to live a spiritual life or life of awareness. But somehow, initially, I used to do that. But last few years, I felt, that I'm not really in a routine. Sometimes I will sleep late, sometimes I'll, those kind of things. So, how important is that? And, uh, what is what do you want to say about that?
Yes, you cannot say a general rule about that which is just applicable for everybody. People are different.
Mm.
A bit of a routine is helping because people who have not that awareness to live the way I just described before, if there is a routine, if there is a certain discipline, then that helps to bring that awareness in the present. Then that helps to remind ourselves to be more aware. Because if the life is just being lived so from moment to moment as it comes, then it needs more of an inner discipline to have that awareness. If you have a certain routine with a certain discipline, then this is just helpful. And then it can be very variable. Some people, they like to have a very strict routine and go about it very strictly, but also for those it's important that when they are doing their routine, that it doesn't become just mechanical, that every day about that much time they're sitting, every day about that much time they are yoga, every day about uh, so much time they're doing something, then it can become also very mechanical. The important thing is also when one has a routine, that intent is there to be aware, to be here, to be present. Now everybody has to decide for themselves. Some people have a gentle routine that just maybe they start their day with some practice, maybe they stop their day with some practice, and in between they're not having much of a routine. And then this daily moments when they are stepping out of doing something, these daily moments when they are not busy, that helps them also to have more of an alertness in the time when they are living their ordinary life from moment to moment. For most of the people, it's recommendable that you have a bit of balanced program, that you have certain things that you just regularly do, and then you live your life as it comes, as it has to go with your story. And then the characters are different. If one longs to be very disciplined, then that's perfectly all right. But that doesn't mean it has to be like this. A little bit of discipline, a little bit of self control is certainly helpful. But we don't have to torture ourselves and find for oneself which is helpful. So I would recommend you that still, even if you don't have a fixed routine, that still you somehow arrange that in your daily life every day you have some time where you sort of step out of the activities where you have nothing to do and just have some time where you can be fully focused on just being here, no matter how you are doing it, whether you are doing it with a mantra or whether you are doing it with meditation, whether you are doing it with another practice or just being quiet and not doing anything. And then, if you are honest with yourself, then you feel where it's going along. If you listen what comes from within, that direction, that guidance is there in everybody within, that shows us, okay, it makes sense now for some time at least that I'm tightening a bit the routine and bring again something in motion. And then there may be times where you can, where you feel it's okay, I can let go a bit of that and reduce that external discipline. I wouldn't completely give it up. When you have more enthusiasm and more time, you can increase. When you have less enthusiasm and less time, you can reduce. But try not to completely give it up. It's helpful to have every day some time where you just step out of the whole story.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, also they say, you have to be in the circadian rhythm where you have to sleep early and you have to wake up early so that your, life becomes more sattvic or something like that. But then I used to follow that for a long time.
Mm.
And then somehow, I don't know, I did something like a retreat. It was suggested to me by a Naga sadhu. He said, live for 1 month in an unknown place, and just do what your body wants to do what you feel like doing, but don't communicate with the world. So I think I did it in 2022, 2 years back. So after that, the sense of routine and the sense of these kind of boundaries is lost, but I still I do my spiritual practice uh, during the day, but sometimes I do it very intensely, sometimes I do it less. But somehow I don't know, like somehow uh, is it the sleeping pattern and all, does it affect the sadhana, or how does it work?
One doesn't have to be too strict about it. There may be uh, differences from one day to another, and it's not that important. It's not that important that you get up exactly at the same hour every day, that you go to sleep at the same hour. You can adjust to the what life brings you along,
Mm.
but can have a, a general
Mm.
movement that you have a somewhat reasonable equilibrium of activities and sleeping time that helps to be more quiet. If one is completely getting out of that, the tendency is there that the mind is getting more agitated.
Mm.
And then the mind is more agitated, then we are more prone to just wander around with our attention everywhere except of being consciously alive. So you don't have to be an ascetic, but you can have a little bit of a natural
Mm.
harmony in that. And sometimes, of course, maybe you travel and it's totally broken. So then, when it's possible, you come back to it. But right, you mentioned other beings. I mean, the whole nature has the routine. The plants that have the
Mm,
daytime, they have the nighttime, and it's
mm,
not because they want to be disciplined, because it's natural for them.
yeah.
And, and so we can also be natural, and
Mm,
in that naturalness, it happens that sometimes you do more. You go later to bed, you go out and are with people for longer time. So what? Then you go and sleep, and then you come back to being natural.
yeah. Also, I've noticed that when there's no creative activity, like let's say I'm in Tiruvannamalai, okay, there may be nothing you can call creative, but you still, go to different places, energy places, you sit there
Mm.
and you absorb that energy. But when I come back to my house in Goa, I sometimes I feel, all the activities that I've done in my life, they are like, uh, of course, I do my duties. Like, let's say someone wants a reading or a client wants to meet me, I do that. But then there are times when, there is something of feeling that, I've not found that something which is very creative and purposeful. And that keeps coming. When I found astrology, I thought, okay, now I found something which is purposeful. Then when I found non-duality, I said, okay, maybe I will share about non-duality. And
Yeah.
then after some time, that breaks. So, and then I thought maybe if I find a certain kind of relationship, maybe it will bring in some purpose.
Mhm.
So, there is a feeling that I'm living on a different planet, because everyone seems to be moving with some purpose. Maybe the purpose is trivial, but for me, the trivial purpose also doesn't seem creative enough. And there is, some sense of, for a long time, I've had this sense that, I find something and I think, okay, I was supposed to go to Jaipur, start a spiritual center there with some friends. And then somehow, certain things, the need for freedom or the want to be on your own terms, and then you come back to, a lifestyle and you say, okay, fine, I'm good on my own. But then again, there is this want for some, I don't know whether it is a creative purpose. Of course, I've seen people in Tiruvannamalai, the only thing they do is they will go to Ramana ashram, they will have chai, they will do something, but but maybe they also have something creative on the side. I don't know. Some of them have it, but somehow I've not been able to. I don't know. Is it something to find? Is it something? I don't know. So I just wanted to
Mm.
share that.
Many people are looking for that one thing that finally is that thing they should do in their life that really
Yeah.
is then a big contribution for to society, and it's really expressing your inner abilities.
Mm,
I wouldn't give on that level that much attention. It doesn't
mm,
matter so much what you are doing. To be
mm,
creative doesn't mean that we are physically creating something. To be
mm,
creative means that we are learning to be in tune with that source of creativity. And then
mm,
your life is creative, even if you don't do anything. The very
mm,
fact that you are alive and in touch with that is creative. It's making your experience expand, and it's radiating something beautiful in this atmosphere that is extremely helpful and creative. Look, Ramana Maharshi, what has he done in his life? If you think what actions he has done, he came to Tiruvannamalai, and he sat and sat and sat. If you just look from outside, you can say that man has not done anything in his life. First he said here, then he said there, and then he finally, there was a Raman ashram, then he sat there on a sofa in front of people who were staring at him. And yet, that being, that intensity of that being manifesting like just here, doing externally nothing, but just be here consciously conscious with such an intensity was the most creative thing he could do. And now, 70 years, more than 70 years after he left his body, he's still a source of inspiration for people around the world. He was so creative, living here, just being. So don't worry so much whether you find your big thing in the life that you can make your creative career. Live here now intensely. And that is the most creative thing that you can do. And then if there's something comes up and you feel, yes, my life, external life goes now in this direction, fine, great, go for it. But it's not that which will bring you the satisfaction that you are creative, because like when you said that you found astrology, for sometimes you thought, oh, this is it, but then after some time you feel, no, it's not feeling that whole, that sense of something more should be there. But that more is not something that you feel find outside. It's something that is already within you. That's where you have to look.
So would you say that live a life which prioritizes the sadhana? Because even though Ramana Maharshi was not doing anything, I think that is the most difficult thing to do, to sit and just be, And
Yes.
maybe we might do some, lesser versions or maybe easier versions of that. Maybe we will chant whole day or something like that. But
Mm.
even to do that, I found is, I think to do sadhana or to just be, like you said, you sat in the cave for a long time. So I find that is the most challenging thing to do, to actually sit in sadhana
Mm.
for a long time.
I mean, absolutely not that you should now start to imitate Ramana Maharshi or anybody else. Live your life, your unique story. What I wanted to point out with the example of Ramana Maharshi is that creativity doesn't depend that we are doing a
Yeah.
lot of things outside.
Correct. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, actually, I remember what Ramana Maharshi said. Somebody said, which scriptures should I read?
mhm.
Which book should I read? And he said, read the source of all scriptures, which is in Samadhi.
Right.
I think you are saying something on that line where you connect with the source.
Right. Connect with that you feel when you are here now, conscious. When you say I, immediately your attention touches something so totally familiar, something that has always been there. Externally, everything changes. Your body changes, your mind changes, your relationship changes, everything changes. But throughout your known life, whenever you said I, not I'm like this, I'm like that, and I should do this and I should do that, but just I, then immediately your attention is touching something so totally familiar, and yet you cannot really explain it, but you cannot possibly say that you don't know it, but you know it not by intellect, but you know it by being. Touch that, and then live your life in its own unique beauty as it has never happened before and will never happen again. Not imitating somebody else and think, oh, that he did like this, so that's how one has to do. We can draw inspiration from great lives like Ramana's life, but not that we should try to imitate it and think that's how it has to be done. What we can, the inspiration we can draw from that is that sincerity, that intensity, And if the life is supposed to be active, let it be active. And if you have to do great things in the world, like do great things in the world. But if you don't do great things in the world, but you live intensely, then you are very creative. And whether the world ever becomes aware of it or not, you have contributed something very beautiful, very great. And it goes in the common consciousness, in the collective consciousness of humanity, uh, an enrichment, a creative enrichment. So don't be so looking for the proper thing to do outside in order to do that creative thing. You can be a night watchman or a floor sweeper and be a totally creative if you live intensely.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a Japanese movie of a person who's a toilet cleaner,
I see.
and he learns how to live on his own peacefully.
Yeah,
Isn't that initially, I think he finds relationships and something like that, everything fails. And then the story is about how he lives peacefully, cleans toilets, he comes home, lives peacefully, goes to sleep. So, yeah, something like that. And for me, yeah, I think you have given a different definition of intensity. Well, normally I think of intensity as someone who's doing many things in the world and then is also connected
mm,
with the spirit. But I think without doing many things and still being very connected is also a big, it's a very intense thing.
right. Definitely. That makes the intensity. You can do a lot of things, but be very unconscious about it most of the time. And then there is not much intensity in it in spite of the activity. Or you can just live a very peaceful, gentle life, but learn to be present, learn to live. As I said in the beginning of the satsang, that you make that choice not to go through your motions just mechanically, but to be aware here now and learn to relax in it. And then there is an intensity there, no matter what you are doing, whether you are doing anything or whether you are not doing anything. And that is what we are somehow looking for without being aware. That's what we are looking for. We always have that sense of dissatisfaction. I'm not doing it properly. I'm not doing enough. Not so much because of the external actions, but because we are not having that inner clarity, that the intensity comes when we live consciously conscious from moment to moment.
Thank you, Werner.
You
Thank
are
you so much
welcome.
for sharing.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Adieu.
Is there anybody else who would like to say something? You're welcome to come in.
Hi, Werner.
Hello, Ravi.
I'm not sure exactly 100% what my question is, so how to
So
ask
let's
it,
see where
really.
it goes.
To be conscious, in a sense, to me, is a moment by moment practice. So I'm using my little tricks or techniques, and at the same time, as best as can, I guess, some of the time is to relax into it. And so, yeah, it's a fun. So, and then some people don't have techniques. And well, I guess maybe they don't have techniques. They haven't developed techniques to practice to help them to be conscious. So what about someone who just lives by the rule of whenever they realize they're stressed or worried, they relax, versus someone who is continuously repeating a mantra in the head? And both of them are doing, yeah, I mean, obviously, since the sincerity and wanting to be present and connected is the most important, relaxed is the most important thing. But having a technique versus just having an attitude, is one more of is having a technique where you're just consciously practicing, like you would sit and meditate, but you're going throughout your day and being aware of your breath, etc. Is that more helpful on the spiritual path?
For most of the people, yes, because very few people have that clarity, that presence of mind to do what you just said before, that somebody sees there is a stress and just relaxes. People who are not having, I mean, there are some people who can do so, and they may not need any technique, but not very many people are capable of doing so. They may say so, but they may fool themselves most of the time that once in a while they succeed, and most of the time they're not succeeding. If one has that clarity, if one has that presence, that one is aware what is happening in the mind, what is happening energetically, then one learns to see where there are tensions building up, and then it's easy to relax. And if that clarity is there, there's no need of another technique. But it's not many people have that much clarity, and the technique helps you to come closer and closer to that state of clarity.
Can you talk then about the process of these techniques that we have, like yeah, I mean, on one level, I don't know why I'm asking this question, because I'm practicing it and I'm experiencing it. But you know, like the idea of either you're focusing on your breath or your mantra, etc., and then the idea of relaxing into it.
Mhm.
Is the technique itself just takes you out of the mind and yeah, it's just taking you out of your mind, and then the relaxing is kind of letting go of any tension that you're doing with the technique to take you out of the mind. Is that right?
Well, you do more than that, but that too, yes. It's good to just know that it's not that with a technique we have to create something. It's not that we have to create reality or the truth for what you are. With any technique, you are that already all the time. Everything we are looking for is already there. The technique is a crutch. It's a help for the mind, because we have been brought up in a society where people are not clear, and then we join the club. We go along with it, living our life stressed and thinking of so many things and being very unconscious. And so if that mind has been formed like this, a technique helps you to give you continuously a reminder, hey, come on, turn the attention away from that. That makes it easier.
And then the relaxation, and then what's the step of relaxation? Is that how does that help?
Relaxation is basically nothing else but letting go of what is not necessary. And you can, as I said, somebody who has that clarity sees what kind of weights are there and learns to let them go, sees when there a new potential difficulty is rising and wanting to eat into the system and hook into the system and stay there, then seeing that and relaxing them means to let go of that which is not necessary. And so relaxing means to detach, means to just not carry along with you what is a burden and has absolutely no use. It's not that like first you do your technique and then you relax. you, first you do this step and then the next step is to relax. You do your technique and you start to remind yourself, and while doing so you relax and learn to relax more and learn to relax more, and as you are learning to relax, and not simply physically but energetically, mentally, intellectually relax, then that capacity to let go of things that are not necessary, that we're carrying them along, keeps on increasing. So that relaxation is a part that is continuing, like the technique that you are exercising. You just learn more and more, be relaxed in your technique, and then the technique becomes also more powerful and helps you to be more clear.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Shall we leave
Just
it?
one more.
Okay.
Yeah, just one more little question. Is wearing, like when we do prana, when I do my practice, spiritual practice, is wearing leather, can that kind of prevent the flow, hinder my practice a little bit?
If it's wearing what?
Like leather shoes.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, don't worry about it. No, don't worry about it. you
In
you
one
leave the
spiritual practice,
you wear the shoes that are appropriate to the climate you live in and make sense. You can very well just use total common sense on that level and not create a problem where there is not a problem.
I did a course once, and we were told by the and it's run by someone like Amma, another saint in India who had a tremendous effect on me, their presence, Sri Ravi Shankar. And when we learnt the course, which is Sudarshan Kriya with pranayama, they tell you, at least they tell you when you do the practice to take your belt off if it's leather. And I hear what you're saying. And why would they say that?
Maybe it made sense in the context of the kind of techniques and pranayamas he was teaching at that moment, but you don't have to take this as a universal law. Anyhow, you try more and more to keep your basic practice with you all the time. And so you don't have to take all the time your belt off because of that.
Well, that's really good, because now I don't need to walk down the street with my pants down. I'm going to have them up and I'll...
Yes. No, with these things, in a certain context, certain things may be helpful, but you don't have to make them into universal laws, but you can, with this kind of stuff, just use your common sense. Yes.
Thank you, Werner.
You're welcome. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Yeah. One, I think what he asked about art of living, I was in the art of living for many years.
Yeah.
So the leather, the reason they gave for not wearing leather while practicing kriyas and pranayam is because it is an animal product.
Yeah.
And there are certain vibrations of that, dead animal when you wear that during your practice. So it is only during the practice, not afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
what
I
I
think
thought.
in some temples also I've been told that not to wear a leather belt, remove it before entering the main sanctum sanctorum. So most of the temples, they won't allow you to enter the sanctum sanctorum with pants on. You'll have to wear a dhoti or something like that.
So when you are in a course like this, then one can follow these rules, or when you visit a place like this, you can follow the rules, but otherwise you don't have to worry about these
Yeah.
details. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? You're welcome. Hello, Dial. I see you, but you have to unmute. Well,
Hello, Werner.
hello, Dial.
Can you hear me now? I already asked you about how to perform. Now I get a glimpse a little bit.
Sorry, so far,
when-
Dial, so far your connection didn't work. I only hear now what you are saying. I don't know what you said before.
Okay, maybe
Can you
maybe I
repeat?
take off. I don't know. Okay, I just remove myself. Maybe here better. Может, я вообще наушник сниму сейчас. Нет. Now I don't hear.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Werner. Yes.
Now I hear you. You will try again.
Okay. Put headphones. Now can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So I was asking you before how to practice in daily life.
Yes.
And it was not clear for me. It seems now I start understanding it. 1 month ago, I start practicing in the morning for 2 hours. Before I did 1 hour only, and 2 hours I go in deeper, and I feel my body. Usually I do Vipassana and Anapana, and I just get deeper. And now you was talking about observing body sensations in daily life, and before I was thinking it's just normal to feel sensations. It's not spiritual. It's just everybody can do. But when I get deeper, I understand when I feel sensations in daily life, I can stop, for example, for a minute and just feel it and just relax in it. So is it correctly I understand? So if I feel body sensations, it's really enough to be aware and practice in daily life.
Right. If you feel body sensations, it brings you to the now. It brings you to the present. It's not that you're feeling a sensation that has been there a moment ago or that will come. It brings you to that. It brings you in touch with life, with consciousness. Now, from this point, all you have to do further is exactly to let go. You keep on feeling the sensations and you just let go. You just relax. And then wait and see what happens.
Yes, okay, Werner, I just asking about daily life. Yeah, daily life. Just sometimes I just stop and feel it, and during actions, feeling it's really enough to be in this state. So it's very important for me.
Yes.
And I want to say thank you to Floyd. The questions he was asking was also my questions, and you answer also some of my questions. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om. Very good. My experience is that we can pick up something as a help. as a practice that we keep on practicing when we are not officially practicing. And my experience is the simpler it is, the more powerful it is. If we are doing it. The difficulty for our mind, especially for the Western mind, is that we have learned that something great has to be complicated, which is not true. The simpler you practice is if, in spite of that, you are capable to use that help again and again, like a simple thing of feeling the body sensations while you are active. A simple thing of being aware of breathing while you are active. A simple thing like just repeating a mantra while you are active. These simple things help you to bring the attention to the present, and from there, all we have to do is not to just get locked on that empirical level, but just relax. And in that relaxation, and let's go of all the barriers that keep us locked on that little fraction of existence. And if you relax more and more, then the attention sinks deeper into your own source, all by itself. And from there, the experience blossoms effortlessly, beautifully. So we can choose one simple help. The simpler, the more powerful. Because then we don't have to focus on that much, but we just can use that and still be active to our daily life. And then more and more using that simple help, the life becomes what I meant in the beginning when I said that you have every moment the choice that either you get completely lost in the story, in the past, in the future, in the mind, in the fantasies, or you learn to live consciously conscious, consciously alive, here now. So Dial's question was, is it correct? It's not really that is a question of our doing a technique correct or not correct. It's whether we sincerely remind ourselves, okay, use that, bring the attention to the present and just let go, relax. I'm using the word relax a lot. And sometimes it's misunderstood that people think, okay, you get just a bit lazy. It's not what it thinks. Relaxing means being consciously in the present and letting go of what is not necessary, of the burdens that we are carrying along, of the obstacles that prevent us from being what we are, from being our own true nature, that divine being that is there. Okay, is there anybody else who would like to come in and say something? You're welcome. If you live like this, that is not a guarantee that after that everything goes smooth externally in our life. Of course, if we are at ease, at peace, we are not creating unnecessary troubles. And so the external troubles may reduce. But still, as long as one appears in a human form in this world, then there is always that possibility that we have to face quite difficult situations, unpleasant situations, confronting unpleasant people, confronting unpleasant circumstances, something that we didn't want, it will come. Living consciously conscious is not a magic trick that we can avoid it. On this human level, sometimes it's pleasant, sometimes it's unpleasant, sometimes it's nice, sometimes it's not nice. Sometimes everything comes easy and sometimes everything seems to be very complicated externally. At least we are not creating unnecessary more problems if we learn to be connected. If we connect with the source instead of being connected with all the ideas we have about ourselves and everybody else. But difficulties, confrontations, challenges, they will come. But if we treat those challenges not as something that is wrong, that shouldn't be there, but accept them. Okay, there comes something, I have to deal with it, and then focus on, in spite of that, being in touch with that current, being in touch with the source, being in touch with the flow of life. Then those challenges can bring a great wealth with them. We learn every morning, every moment, profoundly. The attention sinks deeper into the source and the experience becomes more expansive. So it's not that we can expect after that externally everything will go just sweet and harmonious and we are living the rest of our life on a pink cloud. Not on this level. As long as the body exists, then one has to face all the limitations that come along with the body. And they are sometimes very not pleasant. But if we are not resisting, if we are accepting, okay, this is just a fraction of reality. If we are accepting on that fraction, there is a tension, there is a confrontation, there is something that is not pleasant at all, something that would have made us suffer if we hadn't learned to just be. Then we open-heartedly embrace the situation, accept difficulties that come, and learn that even in those situations we can use our little helpers that we have established to bring the attention to the present, to the timelessness of the now, instead of getting swept away by the situation and get into big troubles. This can be practiced wherever we are, anytime. It's not that there are specific times, specific circumstances, specific clothes, specific foods necessary. It can be practiced all the time. Again, I'm asking, is there anyone else who would like to say something? You're welcome. All right. So let's spend some time just quietly together. Being in that same subtle space, physically far away from one another, just let's make use of the space, of the special space that we have created together. to help us to just be. So I recommend wherever you are, if you are not moving about, sit in a position that you feel quite comfortable. If possible, rather straight, but not stiff. And then just be here, conscious. Consciously alive. Relaxing the body as good as it goes, as good as we can. And just be. If the mind wants to wander off, dream away about something, the moment you become aware, you don't have to fight it. Just let the interest go in those thoughts that are going somewhere and bring the attention back here, now. Consciously alive. Consciously conscious. And relax. Whatever thoughts are coming, need not go along with them. They are just objects that floating by, but you are here. Immovable and yet fully conscious. Just don't get interested in the thoughts. They are little sneaky fellows who try to come and drain your attention away from simply being. But you don't have to fight them. Let them come, let them go, but you are here now, timelessly now. Just be and relax. Where you are physically, there may be sounds. There may be people moving about. Never mind. You are. Objects come and go. Movements are there. People are busy. But bring the attention back to that which is not moving, here now. That sense of presence so totally familiar. Not letting fears or regrets or desires pull your attention away from that sweet peacefulness. Relaxing. Open up to that simple, natural beingness. Full of joyousness. Full of potential. Memories may come in, things we should have done or shouldn't have done. Never mind. It's a story, it's past, it's a possible future within relativity, time and space. But here now, you're complete. Nothing can touch this. Here now, you're home. When tensions want to build up, see them. How they come. No need of trying to push them away. Simply relax. Let go. You relax your feet, relax your legs, relax your shoulders. Now, in a little while, we may start talking again. We may join the stories that are happening on this level. But we can bring that awareness with us, this awareness, what is here now. We bring it everywhere. It's there. Hasn't needs not be created. Just remember, connect and relax. But we can consciously feel how the body is again ready to move if it's necessary. We can consciously be ready for the stories that may come. But here is your home. This timelessness of the now, that is where your true nature resides. I wish you all well. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.